Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Thumbnail. Welcome to Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward. Today we have some gameplay of Palace of the Dead in the background, and we're going to be talking about patch 4.0 and possible classes, possible expansion theme, and possible storyline for the next expansion of Final Fantasy XIV. First of all, this is my first time ever being recording myself running a solo on Palace of the Dead, and actually this is the second time ever running Palace of the Dead. I have not got to try this piece of content out whatsoever until as of recent, and I gotta say I love it. It is so fun, it is so exciting, it pretty much feels like a dungeon crawler, and you are playing Final Fantasy XIV, except you're leveling from the start. Your leveling is a little bit faster. Each mob ramps up in challenge as you move on from level to level, and as you move on from level to level, you gotta collect treasures, collect items that you actually get to use in battle, collect potions, and upgrade your gear from the start. The gear that you wear does not matter, it's the gear that you find within this place that actually affects how much damage you take and how much damage you deal, which is actually really awesome. I am really loving Palace of the Dead, and I would love to do it more, maybe stream it sometime, that'd be totally down for that. Nevertheless though, let's get right into the 4.0 talk. It's been kind of big as of recent over on the Final Fantasy XIV Reddit, the forums, and even between some YouTubers out there predicting possible new classes in Final Fantasy XIV. For today though, I do want to go ahead and give some credit to Ethys, who actually made a great video of Final Fantasy XIV lore unmasking Ethys. In his video, just to kind of give a quick summary, he predicts that there is a secret behind Ethys, the pugilist or the monk within the Signs of the Seventh Dawn, that could potentially explain why we've never seen her face and why majority of her identity have been uncovered for us up until to this very point. In Ethys' video, he argues and brings up great points of Ethys being possibly a nobility or royalty in Little Ala Mhigo and for the people of Little Ala Mhigo, and rather than being a scholar for the Seventh Dawn, which most members of the Seventh Dawn are scholars, she's actually in fact an asylum seeker that seeks refuge from a political party. The only current political party or the big empire that controls Ala Mhigo has been taken over by Garlean Empire, and the people of Ala Mhigo have been run out from their homeland. Now the video is actually very interesting, and I'm not gonna spoil anything more. Please do check it out in the description below and watch Ethys' video regarding the unmasking of Ethys' true identity. Now let's get to the main point of the entire video. Now the reason a lot of people think that this story will have something to do with Ala Mhigo, possibly Ethys, and us going over to the original Ala Mhigo and maybe retaking it back and fighting for the people of Ala Mhigo, actually comes from the trailer that was released regarding patch 3.4. In the patch 3.4 trailer, you can see what seems to be a persona rallying people of Little Ala Mhigo. You can kind of tell they are Ala Mhigans because of the skin color, the skin tone, and a general blockish shape of the head that most males have. I know the patch is going to be out in probably just about a week, and this video may be absolutely pointless, but I still want to chime in case this video actually has some sort of credibility and change my thoughts and answers according to information we're going to receive in October, because apparently Final Fantasy XIV's new expansion is to be revealed at October Fan Festival. I'm very much looking forward to that, and seeing the second expansion for Final Fantasy XIV come out. Just thinking about it, Final Fantasy XIV is getting not just a first expansion, but a second expansion. Damn. The game has been going pretty far. So far, I believe the game is quite a success, to be honest. Now, in the wake and in the excitement that comes with a new expansion, a lot of people ask the big question, the big hard-hitting question that most players want to know. What are the new classes that we can expect in this expansion? Since this video's credibility is only made by hypotheses and several arguments I'm gonna bring up in this video, I could be completely wrong, so if you're watching this video in October and the next expansion has been already announced, please disregard this video and simply watch it for the entertainment and the argument alone. One of the most prominent characters within the Final Fantasy XIV lore, Raubahn, leader of the Flames, throughout the story patch after the Realm Reborn, there is a moment where Raubahn is seen being very monster-like and being very animalistic. A lot of people think that he could possibly be one of the few blue mages that is ever to exist in Final Fantasy XIV, which shows in sign that if Final Fantasy XIV follows Heavensward in its trends and its locale, we might be able to learn how to become a blue mage over in the area of Little Ala Mhigo. In the previous Final Fantasy MMO, Final Fantasy XI, Blue Mage is described as dual-wielding scimitars using monster abilities and enemy abilities that they gather from around the world and unleashing the beast within. And nothing says beast within like the moment of Raban and Ilber fighting against one another. The brutish force of Raban is just so captivating, and it really makes me think that there could be a possibility having a blue mage be a melee scimitar wielder that uses iconic enemy abilities in the rotation. That'd be pretty awesome to see. That'd be very, very awesome to see. Another user in Final Fantasy XIV Reddit actually pointed out that there is a character named Raban in Final Fantasy XI, who is in fact a blue mage and is wielding two scimitars. Now, this could be a reference to the current Raban or could be complete coincidence, but if it has any merit, that could mean possibly, no guarantees though, that we may be able to do a blue mage in Final Fantasy XIV's next expansion. If you're following the theme, the next class I would say would probably be Dancer. Dancer in Final Fantasy XI was known as a healer that used both mana and TP in order to heal and do combat damage up close. According to some players back from the 1.0 era of Final Fantasy XIV, you eventually had a crafting leaf quest to create a pair of pants for a dancer for some of the members in Little Ala Mhigo. Now that item is probably gone by now and it's not in Final Fantasy XIV. And aside from that particular item, there's nothing else, no particular evidence that shows me that dancers come from Ala Mhigo, but having a melee healer does seem like it would be a really cool mechanic nevertheless. And if they were to introduce that in an Ala Mhigo themed expansion, I would be totally down for that. So therefore, I would say Dancer would be my healer of choice for a next Final Fantasy XIV expansion. My third class that I could see in an Ala Mhigo themed expansion would be Beastmaster. I don't know a lot about Ala Mhigo people or their bonding with any beast whatsoever in the past, but I would definitely see a Beastmaster be something that Ala Mhigans could have, especially if they pair up with something snake-like, maybe like a Biased or a Peist, and have that be their beast companion. Also, having a pet-based tank would be a really cool mechanic. Now, the only way I could see the tank actually work out in Final Fantasy XIV with a pet with it is that maybe the pet and the tank take off different aggro from one another and actually share the damage and share the impact. I don't think there will be anything particularly unique about having a pet, except maybe some advantages of keeping aggro off of you for a short period of time. And while I do understand the simplicities behind having a pet for a healer or a pet for DPS, I doubt I could see a proper pet for a tank be worked out, at least in a very intuitive way that I could think of off the top of my head. But if anybody could make it work, is definitely the Final Fantasy XIV to do some magic with it. And last but not least, of classes that I could see being added in the Ala Mhigo themed expansion is everybody's favorite, the Red Mage. People have been asking and wanting and hypothesizing for Red Mage for a really long time, and as much as a lot of people want it, there is still no guarantees, no factual proof evidence from Yoshi P or anybody from Final Fantasy XIV stating that we will have a Red Mage eventually. See, a Red Mage in Final Fantasy X, as described online, not from personal experience, is a form of a DPS support that actually buffed friendlies and nerfed allies, as well as had access to several Black Mage and White Mage abilities, although they weren't powerful in potency. It was the jack of all trades and never a master of one particular element. It was able to assist friendlies and enemies. It was able to assist friendlies and gimp enemies, and was overall sort of like a primary support class in Final Fantasy XIV that a lot of people in Final Fantasy X that I just simply cannot see being used in Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, if we get something close to a melee bard or melee machinist that is able to provide assistance and buffs and debuffs to friendlies and debuffs to enemies, then I could totally see that happen, and I would love to see that happen. But is there any evidence to it? I completely doubt it. There is one evidence to possibly seeing a Red Mage in the future. Ilberd, one of the people Raban was actually battling, is also an Ala Mhigo himself, and apparently he used an end spell in their encounter during the cinematic, which is apparently very iconic to Red Mages. people have been hypothesizing ever since the release of the 2.5 patch, but what is a concern for me personally is that throughout the cinematic you actually see Ilbert using a shield. Either he switched to a paladin, or he's just a red mage with a shield, I have no idea. Maybe it was just another spell out there that was a tease for the Final Fantasy XIV community, who knows? There is no way to tell, there's no factual information behind what exactly Ilbert used, unless Yoshi actually answered that it was an end spell and I just kinda missed it. See, I never came into Final Fantasy XIV at the start of patch 2.5 when all that happened. I came towards the end where the Heavensward was right around the corner, and then entered Heavensward pretty much with everybody else. But that are questions that developers can answer themselves, or they can answer with the announcement in October for the expansion. This video is just a hypothesis video, a what if they created this expansion, what class we will get kind of video. Anyway, I hope my arguments have been pretty sound. There are not a lot of factual information or factual reasoning behind any of those classes actually happening other than the Blue Mage, and I would love to see Blue Mage actually get incorporated. The way I could see Blue Mage actually get incorporated is by having the class go through several class quests where the Blue Mage actually has to pair up with a mentor of a sort and seek out powerful monsters, defeat them in combat, and absorb those spells and learn their abilities in order to improve and encourage development for the rotation. Dancer as a melee healer would be a really cool concept, although it would be really difficult to pull off because it would be like almost playing as a monk, except some of your abilities are meant to do AoE healing or single target healing. That would be a little bit difficult to construct. I would think Beastmaster class would be the most difficult one of them all to do. Granted, you would have to figure out a mechanic of using a pet and yourself for tank rotation without trying to make yourself look like a warrior, a paladin, or a dark knight. Unless you just have the pet tank and you manage the abilities from the pet, that could work? I don't know. These are not questions for me to answer personally. These are just hypotheses that I just have in my head, and making the video late at night is also probably not the best idea, but nevertheless, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know your feedback in the comments below and tell me what you think. Tell me whether you agree or disagree with these theories. Please check out Ethys' video regarding Hida, and I hope you enjoyed. My name is Thamriel. Like, subscribe, and as always, have a great day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.